The evening that outshone everyone. Young Elizabeth II versus the seasoned Dutch Queen. 2 thrones, 2 styles, 1 showdown. What happened that March evening in 1958? How did the 32-year-old monarch manage to overshadow the host at her own reception? What jewels did she choose for this triumph? And why was this banquet remembered for decades? The real story turns out to be far grander than a simple rivalry between 2 women. A young woman boards the royal yacht. She's only 32, but on her shoulders rests the weight of an entire empire. Elizabeth II, Queen of Great Britain, is preparing for a journey that will be remembered for decades to come. The first years on the throne were a time of trials for her. She needed to prove a new era had begun, and the young monarch was ready to lead her country forward. European royal courts watched her every move, some with hope, others with doubt. Elizabeth made a decision to personally tour the monarchical countries of the continent, not to send ambassadors, not to limit herself to letters, to appear before rulers in person, to show friendship and respect, to establish her new status. This wasn't just diplomacy. This was a show of strength, but the most impressive spectacle was yet to come. March 1958. The weather over the English Channel is changeable, as always at this time of year. Waves crash against the hull of the legendary yacht Britannia, the floating palace of the British Crown. On deck stand Elizabeth II and the Duke of Edinburgh. The wind whips through their hair, but the Queen remains composed. Course is set for the Netherlands, a country of ancient monarchy, tulips, and canals. On the other side of the strait, preparations are in full swing. Queen Juliana and Prince Consort Bernhard of the Netherlands are getting ready to greet their distinguished guests. Protocol is scheduled to the minute, every gesture considered, every word weighed. But no one yet suspects that this visit will go down in history for an entirely different reason. The yacht Britannia docks at shore. Gangways are lowered. The royal personages step onto Dutch soil. Greetings, smiles, handshakes. Cameras click. Reporters scribble notes. And at the royal palace, preparations are already underway for an event that will eclipse all protocol ceremonies. The first evening of the state visit arrives. The royal palace in Amsterdam is transformed. Hundreds of candles are lit in antique candelabras. Table silver is polished to a dazzling shine. Crystal goblets are arranged in flawless rows. The state banquet, the pinnacle of any state visit. Here they demonstrate not only culinary art, but wealth, status, the grandeur of the dynasty. 2 queens prepare to make their entrance, each in her own chambers, each before her own mirror. The decision is made carefully and deliberately. Which jewels to wear this evening? Juliana chooses Dutch treasures. Elizabeth turns to the British royal collection, but her choice will exceed all expectations. The banquet hall doors swing open. Guests rise, the monarchs enter. And in this moment, something amazing happens. The light of hundreds of candles reflects in the jewels. Diamonds burst into dozens of fires. Pearls shimmer with soft radiance. Gold glows with warm luster. The hall seems to fill with its own light, emanating from the ornaments of the 2 queens. Eyewitnesses of that evening will remember one picture forever. Elizabeth and Juliana sitting side by side at the table, and every movement of their heads creates new flashes of light in the precious stones. Conversation flows calmly, but guests' eyes are riveted to the monarch's jewels. And now we come to the main part. The Queen of the Netherlands, Juliana, appeared in full regalia. Her head was crowned by a Dutch diamond bandeau, a classic tiara form, low and wide, closely embracing the hairstyle. Every stone was selected with the greatest care. Around her neck wrapped a festoon necklace, garlands of diamonds descending in graceful arcs. With each turn of her head, the ornament played with new facets. Massive drop earrings completed the look. Large diamonds in settings swayed with the slightest movement, drawing attention to the Queen's face. On the bodice of her dress gleamed another ornament, a brooch sparkling no less brightly. All this magnificence formed a unified ensemble known as the Stuart Parure. This was a triumph of the Dutch royal collection. Juliana demonstrated the wealth and antiquity of her dynasty. Each ornament carried within it centuries of history, memory of ancestors, a symbol of the continuity of royal power. Guests couldn't tear their eyes away. Photographers clicked shutters non-stop. It seemed there could be no more impressive sight. But eyes increasingly turned to the British monarch. What Elizabeth II wore made the room hold its breath. On the Queen's head sparkled the Vladimir Tiara, pearls and diamonds intertwined in an intricate pattern, creating a work of jewelry art of incredible beauty. Tall, majestic, it rose above the hairstyle, attracting all eyes. But how did the British crown come to possess this Russian treasure? The story takes us back to Imperial St. Petersburg. The Vladimir Tiara was born in Russia, in the workshops of court jewelers. It adorned the head of Grand Duchess Maria Pavlovna, one of the most influential women of the Russian Empire. Maria Pavlovna was the granddaughter of the Grand Duke of Mecklenburg-Schwerin and the wife of Grand Duke Vladimir Alexandrovich, third son of Emperor Alexander II. Her position at court was exceptional. The Grand Duchess's salon was considered the center of the capital's cultural life. The tiara became a symbol of her status. The diamonds and pearls were selected with impeccable taste. The crown's form allowed it to be worn with any outfit. This was a universal crown for society events. The real turning point came later. The events of 1917 turned the world upside down. Revolution swept away the old order. The imperial family found itself in danger. Many representatives of the Romanov dynasty fled the country. Grand Duchess Maria Pavlovna left Russia. The tiara was successfully smuggled out. According to one version, it was hidden among belongings. According to another, it was smuggled later through a British diplomat. In 1921, the Grand Duchess's daughter, Princess Helen Vladimirovna of Greece and Denmark, decided to sell the tiara. The family needed funds for life in emigration. The buyer was Queen Mary of Teck of Great Britain. So the Russian tiara found a new home, from St. Petersburg to London, from the hands of the Romanovs to the hands of the Windsors. The jewel's story continued on British soil. Now, 37 years after the purchase, Mary of Teck's granddaughter wore the Vladimir Tiara to an official reception in the Netherlands. Russian heritage sparkled on the head of the British Queen. The next detail of the ensemble was no less remarkable. Drop earrings, swaying with every movement of Elizabeth's head, attracted eyes no less than the tiara. They perfectly complemented the Vladimir crown. Even more pearls, even more diamonds. These earrings would become inseparable companions to the Russian tiara throughout Elizabeth II's entire reign. But their own story began much earlier. The ornament was created in the 19th century. The first owner was the Duchess of Gloucester and Edinburgh, daughter of King George III, a woman of royal blood, holding a high position at court. The craftsmanship of jewelers of that time astounds the imagination. Gold and silver served as the foundation. Diamonds and pearls created a complex composition of light and form. Pearl drops were framed by skillful diamond settings. Each stone was secured to catch and reflect light to maximum effect. With movement, the earrings created a play of highlights, drawing attention to the owner's face. But the main feature of the ornament lay in its construction. The Duchess of Gloucester wore the earrings at balls, receptions, solemn ceremonies. They became her signature ornament, a mark of status and taste. A decade later, the situation changed. The Duchess had no children. Before her arose the question, who would receive her jewelry collection after her passing? The choice fell on her niece, Princess Mary Adelaide of Cambridge. Mary Adelaide would become the Duchess of Teck in the future, marrying Prince Francis of Teck. Her daughter, also named Mary, would subsequently become Queen of Great Britain, wife of King George V. So the earrings passed from generation to generation, climbing ever higher on the hierarchical ladder, from Duchess to Princess, from Princess to Queen, from Queen to her granddaughter. And now Elizabeth II wore them to the banquet in Amsterdam. The 19th century ornament found new life in the mid-20th century. And around the Queen's neck gleamed another treasure with an equally impressive history. Queen Victoria's Golden Jubilee necklace wrapped around Elizabeth's neck. Massive, luxurious, it attracted eyes no less than the tiara and earrings. English public figure Hugh Roberts, renowned researcher of royal jewels, left a precise description of this masterpiece. 8 graduated shamrock links, each one slightly larger than the previous, created a harmonious composition. A diamond clasp crowned the construction. In the center was positioned a 4-leaf clover, symbol of luck and blessing. Above it rose a crown, reminding of the owner's royal status. A pearl drop hung down, adding dynamics to the frozen form. But this necklace held a secret. The central link and 6 side links could be detached, each element transformed into a separate brooch or pin. One ornament, 7 different uses. Queen Victoria, known for her practicality, would have highly valued such a solution. Later, under Elizabeth II, the necklace would undergo modification. 2 small links would be removed, giving the ornament more elegant proportions. Massiveness yielded to elegance. Documents reveal an unexpected turn. This necklace was created specifically for Queen Victoria's Golden Jubilee, 50 years on the throne, an event celebrated throughout the empire. Gifts poured in from all corners of the world. But this ornament stood out especially. Victoria wore it at the most solemn events. It symbolized not just wealth, but the longevity of her reign, the stability of the monarchy, the might of the British Empire. Now, decades later, her great-granddaughter Elizabeth wore the necklace to an official reception in another country. The connection of generations became tangible, past and present united in one ornament. And here appears the final detail of the ensemble. The sash of the Order of the Netherlands Lion, the kingdom's highest honor, which Juliana presented to Elizabeth as a sign of friendship between the two monarchies, was secured on the British Queen's shoulder by an elegant brooch. The Kensington Bow, a classic diamond bow with a pear-shaped pearl pendant, simplicity of form united with luxury of execution. This ornament carried a touching story. 1893. Princess Mary of Teck is preparing for her wedding to Prince George, Duke of York. The future royal couple receives gifts from the upper echelons of society, from foreign monarchs, from government institutions. But one gift stands out among all others. The residents of Kensington, ordinary people from the London district where the princess spent her childhood, decide to give the bride a special gift. They collect funds, each contributing their share. Someone gives a shilling, someone a penny. The sums add up. The accumulated money is enough to commission a luxurious brooch. Jewelers create a diamond bow with a pearl pendant. The form is simple and elegant, the execution flawless. When Mary receives the gift, she's moved to tears. This isn't just jewelry, this is a symbol of her future subjects' love, a sign that the people accept her. The brooch becomes one of Mary's favorite ornaments. She wears it to official events, remembering those ordinary people who collected funds for this gift. Decades later, Mary's granddaughter, Elizabeth II, wears the Kensington Bow at a ceremonial reception in the Netherlands. The ornament gifted by ordinary Londoners sparkles alongside the Russian Grand Duchess's tiara and Queen Victoria's necklace. Photographs captured an important moment. Two monarchs sit side by side at the banquet table. Candles flicker in candelabras. Crystal goblets reflect flame in hundreds of sparks. Table silver gleams in the hall's twilight. Queen Juliana in the Stuart parure embodies Dutch grandeur. Bandeau, necklace, earrings, brooch. Each ornament carries within it the dynasty's history. Diamonds sparkle with even cold light. Queen Elizabeth demonstrates the power of the British royal collection. But her choice speaks of more than just wealth. The Vladimir Tiara, legacy of Russian aristocracy, memory of a fallen empire, symbol of how history interweaves the fates of dynasties. The Duchess of Gloucester's earrings, ornament with a 3-century pedigree, passed from aunt to niece, from grandmother to granddaughter. Victoria's Jubilee necklace, gift marking 50 years of reign, witness to the British Empire's heyday. The Kensington Bow, gift from ordinary people, sign of the connection between monarchy and nation. Each ornament told its own story. Together, they created a message. The British crown preserves traditions, remembers the past, values the continuity of generations. This wasn't a competition between two queens. This was a demonstration that royal jewels are something more than just ornaments. Eyewitnesses remembered that evening forever. Reporters wrote enthusiastic articles. Photographers took pictures that would travel around the world. The state visit to the Netherlands in March 1958 ended triumphantly. Elizabeth II showed herself to be a skillful diplomat, a worthy successor to the great monarchs of the past. But what was remembered most were the jewels of that evening. The Vladimir Tiara found second life on the British Queen's head. The Duchess of Gloucester's earrings became permanent companions to the Russian crown. Victoria's Jubilee necklace sparkled with new brilliance. The Kensington Bow reminded of the monarchy's connection with the people. Elizabeth would continue wearing these ornaments throughout her long reign. They would appear at dozens of official events, state visits, solemn ceremonies. Each time, photographers would strive to capture them in all their magnificence. The jewels would outlive conflicts and revolutions, economic crises and political upheavals. They would be passed on further, from owner to owner, preserving within them memory of the past and aspiration for the future. That evening at the Royal Palace of Amsterdam became a model of royal style. The young monarch demonstrated not only the richness of her collection, but an understanding of the symbolic meaning of jewels. Each ornament was chosen deliberately. Each carried a message, and that message was heard. Here it is, the true story of that evening. No overshadowing, no rivalry. Two queens demonstrated the greatness of their dynasties, each in her own way. Elizabeth chose ornaments with the deepest meaning, the Russian tiara of an exiled duchess, earrings with 3 centuries of history, a gift from ordinary Londoners. This wasn't a triumph over a rival, but a lesson in diplomacy through jewels. Remarkable how one evening can tell so many stories, isn't it? If you enjoyed this investigation, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel to discover more royal secrets. Turn on the bell. Many more amazing stories lie ahead about how monarchs communicated through the language of jewels. See you soon!